All right, so welcome to another episode of the Love Experience. Today I got some very powerful guests. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Omawale Crowder, member of 100 Black Men, Phi Beta Sigma, CCS, Columbus City Schools employee.
Okay.
My name is Larry Mason, a resident of Columbus, Ohio. I would say at this point, no political affiliation. However, though, I do try to stay dialed into current news.
Emmanuel Bonds, intervention specialist for Columbus City Schools. Also certified Class 1 official. I am a basketball and coach of just many sports. So
there you go.
Okay.
Wow,
So I appreciate y'all fellas coming on the show today. I wanted to do a little bit things different. Y'all, as y'all can see, I don't have my lovely bride with me today. So we're gonna get real and rugged and straight answers. So I had a topic I was thinking about us as Black men. I wanted us to have an honest conversation, but I also wanted us to bring nothing but solutions. A lot of times right now in this political atmosphere, I feel like right now under President Donald J. Trump, there's a lot of opportunities for us. So we're just going to kick off things. We're going to just flow. And then, like I said before,
that right there,
like I said
right
before,
there,
it's loaded.
Well, you know, it's loaded like a baby's diaper, because here's the thing, you know, you have to wonder, you know, with the expression or the blowback that we're getting, you know, with the cancellation, looks like, you know, we ain't even gonna get Soul Train on TV, but you have to wonder, well, you know, where is this going as far as the intention of Black people, you know, as far as, you know, our institutions were institutions that meant a lot as far as, you know, the Black colleges, you know, the institutions of learning, and even us being successful in the white colleges. And you have to ask yourself, well, where is this going to go? And I understand, you know, if you're saying, you know, that we are, you know, this could be good for us, I want a map. I want some transparency. I want to see where is it going to go? I mean,
okay.
You know,
yep.
Okay.
So under us as Black men, we always have the Democratic Party. We also have the Republican Party.
Okay.
But we never talk about this party, self-interest.
Okay.
So I feel like now this is the culture and the era where we talk about our self-interest and what are we going to do, solution focus, to get these outcomes. Economics, our households, all four brothers in here are married. And that's unusual. A show where four husbands that have children.
Black men.
Black men.
Black
men. So that's right there out the norm, you know?
Yeah.
You know, so we have some solutions because like I said before, we're all married. We're all leaders in our household. So it's just time to give the community some solutions.
Well, you know, I appreciate what you're saying. First of all, I want to thank, you know, James, you know, for having me on the panel with the other gentlemen. But always thankful for that. Always thankful to God for whatever I do. I'm hoping to speak the most positive thing, you know, not for myself, but for the community and the experience that I have. And hopefully I'll bring something that would, you know, challenge someone's thinking or maybe change their thinking. But at the same time, you know, I like what you're saying there when you said self-interest, because one of the problems that we have is, or we're going to have is, if we don't galvanize under this situation or take the advantage of galvanizing our communities, we're going to miss the golden opportunity of history, because the way it looks with all the crime, all the stuff that we're seeing, you know, it's almost like brothers are going to be on the endangered species list, you know, because our existence is really a stronghold through strong families, through strong family believing. And I know how you, James, how you feel about that, how you and Amber have done a fantastic job with your family. And, you know, I'm sure to get the other two gentlemen as well, you know, and you hit a key topic when you said, you know, being married, committed, those type of things. Those are key parameters on how you build a strong community. But I think what you're trying to focus in on, how do we go with that financially? How do we go with that spiritually, as far as self-interest in the Black community? as well as my question would be, how do we come together?
Mm-hmm. So I'm just opening the floor up to anybody that got any answers, solutions. Like I said before, I have a nonprofit. Like I said, we're galvanizing the community. We're bringing people together and we're holding people accountable. I think that's the atmosphere that we have to start to get into, actually holding each other accountable to get results. No more excuses. I need you here, Mom. I need you here, Dad, at this event. It's just no more excuses.
It's a very difficult and I guess slippery slope when we have been so dependent when you threw out the hats, and you're absolutely right with that. If this is our core, how do I want to say, get it things done, and things haven't get done, then you are right. We're going to have to take probably a change of direction and thinking a little bit different, but I still think that it cannot happen unless we galvanize together and we begin to look at each other differently. Black men, we have to look at each other differently. And what I mean by that is there's so many young Black men, and, I look at your sons, man, they're fantastic. What you mean to them. Unfortunately, when you have a generation that's really fatherless and doesn't know what it is to be a man, there's an identity crisis, first of all. Being Black is not just a color. It's not like you picked up a box of Crayolas and say, "Ooh, yeah, I think I like that." No, being Black is more than that. Our history meant more than that. And I think there's a lot of lost history in that. My wife's family, they have deep roots in Hampton University, and we visited the university, and I was like, wow, this is like really something. So it's really good to know your Blackness. It's not just a Black mystery, it's Black history that we should start and understand and appreciate the sacrifices that a lot of our forefathers did for us that we had no idea. And yet, when other people talk about erasing them out of books, I say that's hogwash, because really, people who don't necessarily care about you, whether it's political or not, they don't necessarily have to give you your history. You need to find your history on your own. It's up to your people to teach your history.
And the history starts in the household.
Absolutely.
It doesn't start in the school.
Anybody else on
we
that?
We got to get out of that mindset.
Yep.
About teaching history in school. It starts in the household. The mother is the first educator.
Right.
So the child is actually learning inside
right.
the mother's stomach. So the mother is the first educator.
So my question would be, James, in this sense, though, when we talk about controlling our own and doing things like that, it's just like we had it before probably in history when you come with all this data, technology, all these people having this educated, and these are people who earned their education. It wasn't given to them. When you have resistance and people make it, it's not like they gave it to you. You earned it. They just had the opportunity to show and showcase their talent. I'll say this statement, and I'll stick with this for all eternity. God gives everybody a talent. Mine has been fortunately electrical, anything electrical, mechanical, plumber, anything like that. That's what I do. And I've been fortunate to make a living on it. But I'll say God gives you a talent. You just need to sometimes have it harvested or cultured or find a way that you know how to deal with it. And I say this to say that, and that is, for Black people, we've always been talented. You can see it at the highest level of education. We've always been talented. Right. So if you don't think that you have a talent, it's only because you accept that failure within yourself. You need to know that you have it. You just have to have it cultivated.
I would, to add to that, I think we definitely have to start having some uncomfortable conversations about some uncomfortable truths that is going on in the Black community. Like you pointed out, all of my core group of friends that I consider close to me are great role models. They're involved in the community. They're in their household. Their children are not perfect. No one's children, you know what I'm saying? But they're wonderful people. And I didn't have that growing up. I was raised by my grandmother, originally from Mansfield, Ohio.
Wow.
And, when we talk about our culture and our history, and you're right, it is the first thing you learn about it is it's not in the classroom,
right,
unfortunately. I've learned more on social media about our culture and our history than I've
Absolutely.
ever have. And I took one course in college that was really enlightening about Black history or whatever. And that just opened my third eye to a lot of our, like, as you said, our talents that we're born with, naturally born and gifted and born with.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I think Roland Martin said it best now with the plight or the state of Black people or Black Americans is that we're almost, I'm not gonna say I'm not endangered species, but that's what it kind of feels like right now
Pressure.
with this administration that anything Black they're going after. And if we as a community don't start waking up and really engaging one another and having, like I said, this uncomfortable conversation about what's really going on and what really needs to be done, you know, we're going to find ourselves, like you said, on the opposite end of history. And that's my whole thing right now. This is a pivotal moment in the lives, not just us, but also our children and our children's children, where, you know, the history books is going to be able to either look at us favorably, like as if we put our foot 10 toes down, you know what I'm saying, and we really did what we need to do, or we let whomever just kind of take control, take the wheel and guide us where they want us to go.
I feel like this is this era, not to cut you off,
No.
but this is the first time that we actually sitting there eating popcorn. They talking about mass deportation. That don't affect us.
Right.
I'm sitting there right now eating popcorn, watching other people catch hell right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I'm like, I'm chilling. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm chilling.
There is some
I'm trying to really figure out. I mean, to be honest, as I listen to the conversation, and when we talk about solutions and things like that, for me, I need more of a narrow focus. Like we're speaking in a lot of generalities up here.
Okay.
And usually when you speak in generality, I can't even say the word. When you're not specific and you're not keyed into one area or a few, it's going to stay in that area of generalities. You know what I'm saying? Because we need to stick together. We need to look at, you know, when to be specific, if we're looking at history, we have to look at the systems that we put in place before. And for that to happen, we have to talk to the people who were here before. Did we have a publication? Did we have some other system or framework in the neighborhood? When you I imagine you're talking about a utopia, a Black utopia, or a Black community that's thriving,
right? And I think it exists now.
No, and
go ahead.
What the thing I want to say is that if you look at history, it's existed in a lot of places. It exists now in certain pockets of the country. And it's like, okay, the conversation then would have to be, okay, well, how do we maintain that? Because it's never been a problem of starting it. It's just been a problem of maintaining it, whether it's a freeway going through the community, whether it's recruitment for the Army for some, you know, war. So I say all that to say, you know, the blueprints are there. We don't have to come up with anything new because we've been to where you're talking about, where there are certain spaces. It's just a matter of finding the blueprint and moving forward in some specific area. Because like I said, I don't do well in generalities. Like, you know, we can sit up here all day long and say, well, you know, just kind of shout out the slogans, make America, they're no different than that one, you know?
Yeah.
But here's the thing though, when James was talking about the popcorn thing, I appreciate that because what came to my mind was, you know, one of the biggest things, and I'll say this from a spiritual viewpoint, is that sometimes when God even wants to get your attention, he talked about how the churches in Revelation, when he pointed out certain churches, how they were pretty much asleep. Well, when he said popcorn and chill, it made me think about state of Black America. As long as we're not getting deported now, we're kind of slumberish. We're kind of asleep. I don't know if that's what you mean by generality, because we're kind of asleep because we're thinking, that's somebody else. No, it's not just somebody else. It's like what you said, you know, the point of this is happening to somebody else. It can happen to you. This is the state of which we're at. It can happen to you.
But
And
again, self-interest. We're not worried about nobody else.
I get
so
it.
we got to take that
I
mindset.
get it.
We got to take that cape off
Yep.
and that mindset because,
I understand.
like I said, when we in trouble, do anybody else come to help? No.
I get it. Everybody want to call.
It's time to be self-interest.
I get it, James. Everybody want to call Ghostbusters and no such thing. But here's the thing.
You got to change your mind.
Yeah, you got to change your mind. But the thing about trying to get people to change their mind.
You're not worried about everybody like this.
Okay.
I mean, the thing is this.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the midst of our own kind of civil war. Everybody
True.
ain't going to make it.
Right.
I mean, and you just got to keep it real.
Just by numbers. Just by numbers.
Everybody ain't going to be on code. And I ain't worried about nobody else.
Well, I'll tell you the issue. The issue with that mindset that you have,
right,
is that every time the United States has gone after a particular population, it was only a matter of time before they come here. I hear a lot of the same talk about Gaza and over in Palestine, where people don't realize that the technology that they're testing over there is just not that far away from it being tested here. So to turn a blind eye or to have the notion that, I'm just going to take care of myself. When you see the warnings coming, and you're not proactive in stopping the warning, it is only a matter of time before it hits your shore, it hits your community. And to sit back and take a passive role, it doesn't mean that you're not looking out for yourself.
Right.
It means that you see something coming and you become strategic in putting a stop to it before it grows in force. And by the time it gets to you, you don't stand a chance.
But that's what I'm saying. We are mobilizing right now. This is the first time in American history where we don't give a damn about nobody else but us.
When you say mobilize, what do you mean?
We're mobilizing. We're worried about ourselves. And this is the first time in history where we're not focused on other groups. These other groups, and like you said, you piggyback on history.
Yeah.
History, these other groups do not protect us.
Well, here's the thing about it though, James. I love history because history does show the moment in which the most pressure and the most adverse situations, what do people do? Well, I'll say this, when it came to civil rights, and one of the things I learned, because I appreciated what my man was saying, how he, came educated, a little more educated by, social media and some of the things that came out of the net. Well, one of the things I've learned over years, and this was in books, unfortunately, the real reality is if it wasn't for some whites, there wouldn't have been no civil rights era.
This is true.
Yeah, there wouldn't have been none. So in other words, what I'm saying, there's a lot of them that gave a lot of sacrifice so that we can, a lot of times what happens is the stigma is this. The stigma is when you talk civil rights, that's black people. Right. That's just black people. Yeah. That's like,
And even with Malcolm, there was an Asian lady that was like really supporting him.
Right.
And she had her whole community supporting the black folk.
Absolutely.
But if you don't know your history, you will accept the narrative,
the stigma.
The narrative they've painted that, it's just been black folk. No one came to our rescue. No one was supposed to come to our rescue, but there were allies that we had that looked multiracial, but the picture they painted for you was that no one's ever come to us, so we got to be with self. But that is a lack of.
But then you mentioned allies. What do you bring to the table? I mean, anytime you have allies, you have to bring something to the table.
Well, you got to look back at your history.
No, I'm talking about you. You got to.
Well,
tell me.
I'd like to answer that one because when you say allies, the biggest thing that comes with allies is, let's go back to the civil rights era. The biggest thing that came with allies was trust. They put their life on the line, trusting that, regardless of the pressure and the time and the culture, because that made diamonds. Pressure makes diamonds.
But what was the civil rights? What was the
civil rights where we were being, we didn't have any. I'm just saying. Okay.
They named it what?
Civil rights. What do you mean? What do you mean? The civil rights? You mean like, our right to fair and equal?
Who was the civil rights for?
It was for us.
Who?
What do you mean?
Specifically, who?
Oh, you mean as far as a race, or you as
civil
race?
Rights?
Black people, I guess if that's what you wanted to say,
Okay.
if you needed something specific,
Right.
It was for a specific race that we could have voting equality, we could have housing, we can have
Black people.
Yeah,
Well,
just Black people. Okay.
The piece that I'm saying, I'm gonna always go back to history because you know from what was it, COINTELPRO, where the FBI kind of infiltrated a lot of Black movements, but a lot of those Black movements were connected to the Asian movement, to the Hispanic movement. Anytime it grew, that's when you saw that infiltration blow up. So to take that stance of us first, it mirrors the other stance, and that's not a realistic. That hasn't ever happened in history. Like even the slave rebellions that pushed. The narrative is it was Lincoln that wanted to do
Right.
because whatever he wanted to do, but it was the slave rebellions, and part of that was having help from the indigenous people that were here, or some of the white folk that were here that wanted to see it end.
Do the right thing.
So it was not. I don't think it's ever been a strategy to where it's only been us, and that narrative is what they want to paint and push. And anytime someone's going against that, anytime, like King, as dope as he was, it wasn't until he started to unify the poor and all, man, they took him out so quick. Black Panthers, Black Panthers, they took out, because he talked about that. He talked about all of us like stop fighting. Man, they took him out so quick. So your narrative, your stance actually helps the system because that's what they want.
But he was assassinated because his message changed. His message changed about reparations, and that's why he was assassinated.
It was
that's why he was
assassinated. And the Vietnam
was going to start to
Vietnam War.
His tone was going to really start to change. His messaging. That's why he was assassinated.
But that messaging that he's flipped to, it now encompasses everyone. It's a more united message because now we all poor. Now it's the classes now that are going against each other, or that going against the other class, because that's beyond race. Malcolm came to that conclusion when he went across seas. Then they took him out. So once again, I go back to, if we really look at history, we can't look at what we've been fed, or that narrative we've been fed, that it was, nobody helped y'all out. It was white versus Black versus. Now that's not.
No, I'm saying this is an era where we're talking about us self-interest. We're not really worried about what's going on. We have to.
Here's the thing about it, though. I agree with what you're saying, James, as far as we do need that self-interest as far as strengthening our community. But I don't think you will ever get, I'm going to take a page from your book, I don't think you ever get as successful until you find out there are others who will find out that they make great allies. If you're willing to be down for the cause, that's
But then, like I said, when they have these Asian shops, they're about self-interest.
You know what? You know what happens. You know what happens with that. You know what happens with that, James.
And they do, because like I said,
I like
when
that.
I went into a nail shop,
right?
I told the brother, well, not the brother, but the Asian man.
Okay.
I was like, I need to know where you get your resources, and he was like, James, my people don't tell your people that.
Oh, okay.
It's about survival, and that's the biggest thing we learned. Because I served in the U.S. Army, and like I said, I know intel, I know all that type of stuff and the things that we do. Because when I was deployed, we were doing them certain things. We were doing it. We were doing it.
But once again, you're mixing policy with a whole race of people. It is not coincidence that they are strategically everywhere you look. That doesn't just happen, and that's not even a concerted effort on their part. That is us giving tax breaks with our policy. There's a lot that doesn't start with them. Now I do agree they benefit from it.
Yes,
and then it turns into a thing of where, okay, you're in our community, this is our ask. Now if
there are allies, but they don't exist.
Wait.
Well,
but let me finish. What I'm saying is, you make the ask. Okay, you're in our community, we want you to give back. And at that point, if they don't give back, then I'll go back to your point as far as self. Then I'll say, okay, now we have to do some other things structurally
right.
to put pressure on this business.
Mhm.
Because if you are here, we want that dollar to come back here, and that can start to happen. So I don't totally disagree with you.
Right. We just having a conversation.
I don't totally, but
No, I think his points is valid.
There's a few
as a starting point.
A few points that you make that just are way off.
But okay, so go back into that conversation. Why are we not? We got these Arabs. They controlling the stores, the corner stores. They not giving back.
They don't.
Got these Asian stores.
Man,
they not giving back. And y'all said we got some allies. Where these allies at?
I know what you're saying.
Where they at in the city?
I said, hey.
No, where they at?
I use past tense. I like what you're saying, James.
Allies?
I like what you're saying.
No, I need the allies.
No. I like what you're saying because he's absolutely correct. I said past tense. I'm talking, when you talk present tense, whole new frame.
Where they at?
Yeah, you're right. Where they at?
What I'll say is you're comparing these people that are in these businesses that were put there strategically through the system, through the city, through the policy that allows them the finances to do that. Then you make this statement that, okay, we're our allies. That doesn't even compare. Okay, they're doing that. Something has to be done politically. We have to be in more involved in our local government, but that doesn't mean that there are no allies because those businesses are put there.
Allies are about resources. We're not getting no resources. So I'm thinking our allies, if we got true allies, we're getting something. We're not getting nothing.
So to your question, are we asking them, are we holding them accountable? Are we asking them to reinvest into the Black community? You understand what I'm getting at? Now it's go time, and now we're like, okay, well, where are our allies? Where are they at? But to my understanding, to my knowledge, have we really ever asked or expected them to give back?
That's a great point.
You understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah, yes, sir. Absolutely.
Like, so now, because our back is against the wall,
right?
And I think Roland Martin said it best, and I don't want to misquote him, but he said, Black people, we're going to end up entertaining and dancing ourselves out of existence. And right now, I don't even watch half of the nonsense I don't want to change the subject, but half the stuff that's on TV, the reality TV is probably the worst thing that probably could have happened to Black people.
Oh my goodness.
That's probably the worst thing to our conversation that we had last time I was here.
Yes, sir.
We have to, I'm going to keep saying, we have to wake up. Black people really have to really understand and know what's really going on.
Here's, we getting back to that. So specifically,
generally,
in terms of reality TV, what do we have to do? Does that mean that now within our community programs, we break down with our kids to make them media literate? Because it's about media literacy.
Absolutely.
It's like how much did this show cost to be produced?
Right.
Are these scripted? Are they reality or scripted? So that's more like, because, and no offense, but when you say we have to wake up, that doesn't.
So specifically, what to your point, it starts in a household, and it starts with what we're not just saying to our children, but what we're actually showing them, right? Yeah. So, scenario: I live in the neighborhood, predominantly Black, and it's a really older Black neighborhood. Had some neighbors move in that. Or people of color, not white, but people of color. But they've changed the whole kind of dynamic of the neighborhood. Like this, I guess whoever this brother is, he owns a car lot. So he feels like, and it's a cul-de-sac where we live. He feels, I guess, to save a buck or two, he's gonna park all of his cars.
No, can't do that.
You feel me?
Yeah, absolutely can't do that.
As a Black person, as a Black man in a Black neighborhood, that I want to say,
this ain't neighborhood motors.
Yeah,
sorry,
this ain't it.
Can't do it. Yeah.
So when we talk about our local government,
oil changes. Well, no, I'm just kidding.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not trying. I want to be a good neighbor, but
you're right.
He's not being a good neighbor. He's not honoring and respecting where he's at.
Well, just the neighborhood itself, because
the neighborhood itself and what it means.
It unwarranted unnecessary traffic.
So, but again,
you have to pick your fights. You dig what I'm saying? You have to start somewhere,
right? But again, like I said, we're amongst a civil war between ourselves. Who's actually going to go out and fight and ask them questions? to hold these businesses accountable.
But see, but there's a process for all that. Like once again, that's a real general statement. Do you have a neighborhood commission? Is that organized? Is that someone that comes up and say, "Hey,
It's a good point.
this is not this is not the policy of our neighborhood. You have to move these cars." Do you have to go down to the city and get an ordinance that said?
Well, first of all, it should have been neighborhood bylaws.
But no,
that
it just takes.
put in place
But
too.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like.
But it just takes the one person. It doesn't take a neighborhood coalition. It just takes me being a black man. Be like, hey, get your shit up, man.
Yeah, right.
This you tripping.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts at.
Yeah.
And that's the dilemma as black men we're facing. We up there going behind everybody else instead of confronting the wrongs. of this country.
See, I like what James is saying only
gotta
because
confront the wrongs.
only because here's what happens.
We
though.
talking business and money.
If you take the passive route
that
and
ain't
nobody
working.
says anything, because James and I talk, I go in the gym in the morning, shoot with some of the guys, and we talk, and we've talked a couple of times. He kept his word. He said, "Man, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. This is what I'm doing." He kept his word. Now that accountability is what I like. Is what I like. Somebody who says we can be accountable towards each other. So what we're really trying to say here, I think, as a blanket statement is we would have to literally take the walls and peel them back and say, if we're going to make each other accountable, we'll have to throw a lot of things out the book that was, and it may be offensive at front, but you're going to say, hey, listen, it's like telling your teenager, dude, you got to clean up your room. Okay, and he's not listening. No, dude, you need to clean up your room. I'm putting my foot down. That's the way it is. In other words, there has to be enough black men who are willing to step in and say, listen, this is not the way it should be. Somebody brought a great point about, TV programs. That's just straight garbage to me. First of all, it's a straight slap to family blackhood as far as that goes. But when you have a culture that's been so dumbed down on morality and kids see this as normalcy, they just see it as normal.
No, I mean, like I said, when I came back from Afghanistan and Iraq,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it real.
Go ahead.
It's a lot of men, they scared. It's a lot of men scared. It's a lot of men that won't speak up.
Oh, I agree.
And that's at the core. That is the dilemma. A lot of black men will not speak up. They will not speak out.
That's called a coward, in my opinion. Let's keep 100.
Yeah.
To me,
And like I said,
I
you
think it's a
going into
coward.
these schools, you going in schools, you seeing kids cuss out teachers.
Yeah.
You'd be like, back in the day, you would have got dealt with.
You would have got checked.
Right.
You would have got
so
checked.
why now?
Yeah.
Why now? It's called cowards.
Well,
I got some fathers that got daughters that I dealt with. The daughters turning the fathers out.
Yeah.
So let me clarify something though.
Go ahead.
So work it out.
I have never ever been in a school where one, I didn't speak up or black men didn't speak up.
Right.
Now, if you have other teachers there that just that don't care about that accountability, once again, man, I'm a very practical person, man.
Right,
So,
but I can give you factual schools.
well, yeah, no,
There's some admin, there's some principals here in Columbus City schools that are black men that are cowards.
Okay.
Well, if you're in that position of power,
that's
then
punking
now
out.
it goes beyond being a coward. Now you're just a sellout because you know what I'm saying.
Man,
if you got that position and you
know.
refuse to
And I've
support
been in the
your
buildings.
staff,
Right.
I've been in them
It
buildings.
just
To me,
makes
you
you.
just-
It makes you even look weak if you don't, because here's
I've been in them.
But
Yeah.
you
You look
just
weak
painted
if
a
you don't.
picture. I'm telling you, I know a lot of the black principals, and I know they don't play that. Like I know a lot of them.
I know a friend of mine. He didn't play
can,
that.
and I can name
But
a lot of the
thing
principals.
the thing is, what is their rating? FD rating, right?
Mhm.
But you make it see. But now
that
now
generality?
it goes to that generality. You
Yeah,
don't
it's
know
all
what gave them
generality.
that rate. What has that got to do with them standing up and talking to the kids?
Mm-hmm.
So okay, he got an F, but he still talk. That,
All right,
You
so-
you show me a principal that's
Like
that's
I
strong.
said,
and
I've been.
that
I've
don't
been
mean that he don't have.
I've
an
been
F.
in the schools. Like I said, I was a community partner in a so-called school on the east side. The young man had a bonnet on his head. He was walking through the hallways with a bonnet on his head. I snatched the bonnet off his head.
Yeah.
Everybody else turned a blind eye.
Well,
And that's what we're allowing that
But
culture
see,
of
but
dysfunction.
you just said
Me.
wait, no. Listen, you
the
just
admin
said
didn't do it.
I know the admin on the east side, and And if he didn't do that, I still wouldn't say he was a coward because I know him.
You letting this dude walk around with Crocs and a pink bonnet on your head?
Man,
you setting the young man up.
Yeah, you are setting him up.
You setting him up, and as a man, you can't tolerate that in your household.
Yeah.
Any man, you cannot tolerate that in your household.
Right.
You as a man, we come in there and check.
I'm not defending that, but I do know that a lot of black principles.
I gotta dial in, James, what you're saying though, because one of the things that just burns my nose is when I see young men. They got the pants all sagged down. Dude, don't talk to me about no job. Don't talk to me about no. You want something.
They don't need to because after COVID, they start getting hired with sagging pants and all that. Right. So that argument, it's hard to say. We still would do a dress for success, but after COVID, those kids were getting swept up and hired because
I was working.
But I want to keep going back because I think we kind of talking around things, and once again,
there's no social norms. What do you call normal now? I mean, even from the dress code perspective, what do you call normal? I still like to have. I like what James got. I still like that.
No, I just feel like men, we got to become warriors.
Right.
The warrior class, like I said, any nation, you look at their men.
Yeah.
You look at their men. And if their men are weak, you have a weak nation.
The problem is we got a warrior class, but we got a warrior class in every hood in this nation. We just so busy judging them and not embracing these brothers and not trying to help them. When something do go down, half of the brothers out there ain't gonna be able to stand up because we didn't shame them because they don't look like us or dress like us.
No, we don't shame them.
I think the thing that really puts it on the table.
It's just to the point now, like I said. Like even my 4 sons, I've been so hands on them, man. Like I slapped the fire at them. Yeah. And that's what saved their life. Yeah. Like my wife will say certain things, but when it come to me, Dad, they know I'm not playing. I'm hands on. I'm a man of my word.
Bingo.
And that's where we're missing in our community. Yeah. Black men being a man of your word, being more hands on in your community. And stop worrying about this other stuff.
What you're addressing now more so, James, than anything else. I agree with everything you're saying, but unfortunately what you're addressing is the culture of fatherlessness, where the black man pretty much had taken himself either out of the home through immorality or just weakness or whatever.
I don't know. The data states that the black man is the most involved.
Yeah.
Okay.
The most involved and the best fathers in the nation. That's what the data said.
Okay.
So, but there's this narrative that
where's the narrative
that black men are in the families now. It is true. It is true that there are some
deadbeat dads.
It is true that we need fathers in these families, but I don't want to make that statement without acknowledging that we are there because it feeds into that narrative. Like
we need married fathers.
Okay.
We need you married. We need you married in that house to protect that woman.
No, that's true.
That's the simple one.
But once again,
can't be part-time.
Once again, we got brothers out here that don't have the fathers. I was in one of those families, and I had brothers come out to the hood, out there in Sullivan Gardens. They wasn't scared. Like some people were scared to come out there because we were the #1 rated violent place in the city. But some men came out there, took us on trips, coached us, did all those things. Right. So I mean,
you talking about a real hood there. I know what you're talking about.
But I'm just
so it's like it just. When I hear some of these things that y'all are saying, like, man, y'all are feeding into that narrative, and it is not all doom and gloom. Yes, we got to do something. Yes, times are tough, and a lot is at stake now. But it ain't. But we can't just generalize and say, man, we got to do this based on what let's base it on facts.
I think it all. I think from the first part of it, I think it starts right here, right now. Right at this moment when we representing, they should see more faces like that.
I agree.
You know, how, you have black men who have been committed, who are committed to their community, their spouses, their situation, and said, hey, we do exist. We're not somebody who's just going to hide in the background. We're someone, like the heart of the fathers, being turned to the children, saying, listen, maybe we need to have more black men who participate in other neighborhood, activities.
Right. Yeah. Wally, I need to know what you got going on in the city. You got to really shout this out.
Yeah, March 7th, we're going to be at the Key with First Fridays. We're going to be at our masquerade party, the Red and Black.
Okay.
I got tickets for y'all as well if y'all want to come through.
Sure.
And then the other thing that we got going on, we used to do an event back at Brownstone when it was open. It was called
Brownstone was nice.
Mahogany Soul. And this year, Friday, May 30th, we bring it back with Eric Roberson, DJ Jazzy Jeff, Tweet, and Stokely from Mint Condition. It's part of the Summer 614.
Sure.
So the next night they got Total, Tank, Jay Holiday, Jules Santana, Lil Scrappy. So be on the lookout for that.
Sure.
You can follow me
Instagram,
just JUST_WALI to get a lot of these events.
I won't remember that, so you have to give me something. So.
Yeah, so hopefully it's filmed. Yeah.
All right, so thanks once again for coming out for the Love Experience. We'll probably have
absolutely.
part 2.
Thank you so much,
just a
James.
little
Appreciate
discussion.
It. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Start.
Peace.